the Charlie Kirk trial and see it. Robinson's ex-lover seen on video for the first time.
This meeting is to use your statement here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing. Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements, okay? First,
what percentage are we sure Tyler did it? Every day it lowers. Every day the percentage goes down for me.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I also need to notify you that you are notified that statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. You understand that?
Yes.
It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. Make sure that our first we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay.
I don't get it. What's going on here? I don't want to come across as insensitive, but what's happening here? Okay, you guys need to explain something to me. You guys need to explain something to me. And I don't want to come across as insensitive. Are they a trans person? Like, are they a trans woman? Did they detransition? Are they what do they say? Boy modding? Like, what's going on? Are they MB? Because like the way the media covered it, the way the media was covering this is like, this is a trans woman who's a furry, blah, 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 all this. Now, I'm not expecting them to be in court in a furry outfit. Boy moding. Sorry, not modding. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. Yes, I meant boy. Doesn't that sound right though? Like boy modding, like a mod. You just put the mod on for the day. Like you installed the boy mod, like a mod pack. Did you just make a typo out loud? I just always assumed it has something to do with mods. Anyway, let's move on from this mistake. Let's just keep going.
And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
Damn, double audio. No, but actually, okay. Going back and asking sincerely, what's the deal? Do we know? Does anyone else know? This is one of the obviously there's a million different problems with like transphobia that is so normalized in mainstream media, but like I can't even get like a normal answer, not even from this community, but like I can't get a normal answer from reading mainstream reporting because they all do it wrong. You know what I mean? They're never going to cover, like, this is sincerely one of the issues with the way that like mainstream media refuses to add, like, to update their style guides to make sure that they're not like engaging in transphobic stuff, not out of wokeness even, but just like purely out of, you know, how your primary job here should be to cover things correctly. You know what I mean? This is precisely the reason why, like, you can't even get accurate information, certainly not on Fox, but not even on like Guardian or the BBC or the New York Times on whether or not this person is like a trans person. Are they not an out trans person? You know what I mean? Like, it's just because the way that the media covered the story initially was with the FBI revelations that this was like a trans woman. You sound like my grandpa. No, I'm trying. No, guys, come on. I'm being sincere. Why does it matter? Well, I'm trying to establish whether or not the FBI was lying or not. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And I also don't want to misgender them.
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate. So I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first,
See, I'm trans and confused as well. Check logs for response. Not all trans women take hormones or have surgery. They just dress and present in a way that feels feminine. We will commonly dress according to assigned birth agenda for quarter, family, weddings, etc. No, but that's what I'm saying. Is that what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, is that what's going on here? That was simply the question I had. Which, by the way, again, I suspected that's what could be the case here. But do you see the broader point that I was making about like the media never really properly addressing trans related things at all, and therefore it's virtually impossible to understand, like it's virtually impossible to arrive at like accuracy in their coverage. It's another way that like wanting to or being careless about trans existence or being reluctant to address trans existence ends up your coverage. Wow, I came here to listen to Hasanabi, but I seem to have stumbled across J.K. Rowling's Torch channel. Turf much? Okay, stop.
First moved in.
Okay. Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on? Your microphone? Okay. I'm going to repeat those admonitions just to make sure we got it recorded. Okay, so again, I placed you under oath. Just to make a record, I'm going to do it again. You do solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to give you the false statement admonition.
Sorry, hold on. They're saying that it's echoing, so
I think this one's mic is on.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you don't unmute my mic.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we should be good. All right.
Boomers, man.
For roommates?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
Just asking questions, Piker. Okay, stop. I wasn't.
I think we started dating 2 or 3 months after he moved in.
Okay. And where did you live at that time?
St. George, in an apartment complex.
And is that apartment the same place you?
The leftist Twitch streamer Hassan Piker challenge. It's in the Atlantic. They wrote this in the Atlantic too. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's crazy. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way they wrote in the Atlantic that me and Mitch McConnell are having gay sex, or as we like to call it, sex. Oh my God. McConnell's absence has prompted a flood of memes, some involving Ouija boards, AI-generated Mitch zombies, Weekend at Bernie's inspired scenes, and reports of the kid from The Sixth Sense having reached the senator. The leftist Twitch streamer Hassan Piker challenged McConnell to publicly deny that the two are engaged in a romantic tryst. What have I done? Oh no. What have I done? And it's, oh God. This is going to be on Fox News, isn't it? No, they'll never cover it because then they'd have to come to terms with the reality that he's not alive. And I suspect that they're not going to do that. I guess only Mitch can clear it up now. I bet you were a gentle lover to Mitch. No, why do you think he's in the hospital, dude? Wow. Yeah, I cracked his little turtle shell. Okay, we're done. We're done. That's crazy. Oh my God.
Lived when on September 10th?
Yes.
When you lived there with Tyler, were you in the same room? Did you live in the same room or different rooms?
No, separate rooms.
And at that time, let's say September of 2025, what were you doing with your life? Were you working, school?
I was working. I was doing like bathtub and shower repair and stuff in new construction.
Okay. How about Tyler?
I think he was both working. I think he was working for an electrician company then, and he was also in a trade school for being a, I don't know, higher ranking electrician. I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical work day like?
I think he'd leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during school, semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Into September 10th. Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
Okay, so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when like an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him spit out his gum just to make sure that.
I can do that.
You mind? I hit you right in front of your laptop.
Oh, here you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great suit and tie, by the way. Just I was waiting for an opportune moment to say it, but
So what time did you get up on September 10th?
Probably like 12 to 1 p.m.
I'm a suit guy.
You didn't have to work that day.
No.
And did you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
Okay, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Dude, what the is going on? What is going on in Utah, bro? What is happening in Utah, actually?
Now, he asks you here, remember how I was engraving bullets? Was he engraving bullets before this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but he had said he was planning to go hunting with his family. And he asked me for if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets. And I just told him where our Dremel was and told him to make sure he doesn't set off a bullet on accident in the house. But I didn't really think about it until then.
How long before September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I don't remember because he'd been talking about the hunting/camping trip for a couple months, but I don't remember when he was specifically asking to engrave the bullets. So
are we talking like a year before?
Oh no, not that long. It would have been I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
Okay. Right. You talked about the note that he left. I want to bring this up, and I should say that these text messages that we've been looking at here are Bates number 54. Okay. The notes have been titled 16.3 with a note, and this is Bates number 58. Do you recognize that on the screen there?
Yeah.
What do you recognize it as?
That was the note under his keyboard that he was referring to in the first text of that chain.
Okay. So where did you find this?
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
And I assume you read it.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with it after you read it?
I believe I just put it back down on the desk after I took a picture of it.
Okay. And again, the time you read it was probably around 11 o'clock or so on the 10th,
Yes.
the night of September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And did you ever see that again after you placed it back on his desk?
No, I don't think I did.
And that was a desk in his bedroom?
Yes.
And that's a separate bedroom than your bedroom?
Yeah.
And now I want to go to what's been titled 16.2. And do you recognize this series of messages here?
Yeah, that was the server.
Maki's in and thank you for the
his
25.
friends
Get the
that I was
subs.
mentioning.
Okay. And this is your phone again?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you recognize it because the big crack up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a server. Is this Discord?
Yeah, this is Discord.
And who are members of this server? I don't want names, just generally. Who are these people? Members of
This is his friend group. They played D&D together every week.
Okay. And I just want to scroll through this to make sure that you get a chance to take a look at it. Or go to the next page.
Mm-hmm. Or yes.
So Tyler Icom, who's that?
That's Tyler
And
Robinson.
these other people are just others that are members of the server.
Yes.
Jug, Barnaby, Marina, DM.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, DM means Dungeon Master. So these are most of them are names they're using.
They game more than Hasanabi, I bet. Yeah, okay. Well, so does Zoran Mamdani. Okay.
In the game they're playing currently.
Got it. It looks like the last text from Tyler looks like it's 8 p.m. And do you know what day this would have been? 8 p.m. on the 10th or the 11th?
I would think that would be the 11th. Because at least I think so, because I don't think on the 10th that he messaged anyone before me at 11. So.
And he turned himself in on the 11th, right?
I thought so, yeah.
Again, we're just going to go through this so that we have a record of the messages.
Why is there no video, just audio? It broke. It's Utah, man.
Is that an accurate recording of that thread?
To my knowledge, yes.
And that was sent, looks like between September 10th and September 12th. Looks like the last day on this is September 12th. Screen.
Yes.
They spent like 4 hours yesterday talking about redactions of audio video for inadmissible evidence in this exhibit. These are the edits they agreed on. The lover is selling him out. I mean, what do you mean? They had nothing to do with this. Why the did they go to prison? What? Plus, you don't know. You don't know if it was actually, you don't know if it was actually Tyler Robinson that sent those text messages. Just saying. Also, he turned himself in.
All right, so again, those messages covered from September 10th to the evening of September 11th. Now, September 11th, what time did you see Tyler on September 11th?
Yes.
When did you first see him on September 11th? So this is the day after the shooting.
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house. And then I think I saw him after that message where I said I'll come home and say I'm doing laundry, because I didn't want him going to my parents' house right then when he said there was probably cops outside. So I went back home, and it was just him there, and I said bye to him, and then he drove off. So I just went back to my parents' house.
Can we please watch Candace on Sean Ryan's show, because she goes over just about all the stuff in the investigation that has gone wrong and her theory. Personally, I think she's pretty spot on. Oh my God. Guys, you're not supposed to be, this can't be sincere, okay? Like, taking advantage of the misinformation atom bomb that Candace Owens dropped against the concerted effort by the Republican Party to turn this into a anti-leftist counterterrorism operation is good. But you're not supposed to literally be like, yeah, Candace Owens has some good ideas. Like, if you find yourself saying Candace Owens has some good ideas, you really, really got to check yourself, okay? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, maybe try to exercise a little caution when listening to someone like Candace Owens. Literally every normie thinks it was Israel. No, it's crazy. I know. Look, it's out of my hands. I can't do nothing about it. Clearly, I don't have the staying power to combat this kind of misinformation, okay? It's out of my hands. Sorry. I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. I don't know. Some of the stuff seems a little suspicious. Clandis mogged you, bro. Sorry. No, she did. She mogged all of it. I mean, she mogged the goddamn federal government, dude. Explain the trapdoor and Charlie's light switch turning ability. See, I can't do that. From New York Times on the roommate's gender identity, since you were asking earlier, prosecutors said last year that Mr. Twiggs had been transitioning to identify as a woman, but prosecutors and Mr. Robinson's lawyers have this week referred to him as a man. Mr. Twiggs said in the interview that for a time they went by Luna to some friends, which is how Mr. Robinson addressed him in the note. Interesting. To be fair, this is a nationally visible trial for a trans person, potentially a trans person in the state of Utah at a time when there are active initiatives to erase transgender people, like literally. So it could be out of safety. It could be a detransitioning situation. It's just, we don't know. A very sad situation overall.
He acted erratically. Was he pacing? Was he just sitting?
If you actually supported us, you would start estrogen. That's crazy. I already take DHT blockers for my hairline. That's the most HRT you're gonna get out of me.
Down, relaxing.
No, he was walking around a lot.
Right, and that's within the home.
Mm-hmm.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it, and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
Okay. Did he talk about what he was going to do next?
Then eventually said that he would talk to his parents or turn himself over.
Okay. And when you left...
See, the trapdoor thing was totally just they're saying might be super early on because of the angle of the injury, and now it makes sense. that it was a rigged microphone. Stop. Hasanabi wine mom. Please. Look, I think having a conversation about the potential caliber of another weapon or another shooter is one thing. Okay? But I think like the exploding microphone theory is so unbelievably far-fetched. Like, I get it. Israel did the pager attacks. No, it was a microphone bomb, 1,000%. Okay. Oh no, I can't tell if chatters are being for real right now or if they're me. Come on, guys. Come on. What are we doing?
Was that how you left understanding that he was going to turn himself in or go to his parents' house?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be at our apartment while any of that was happening, regardless of what went down.
Okay, before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat,
Okay.
but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images. Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is some press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans. So it definitely, especially the bottom, the last 2, definitely do look like him. They do look like Tyler Robinson.
And you talked about that with your friends, right? This is like him.
Yeah, his friends. Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if I talked about it with any of my friends. And then since I didn't have my phone after that for a while, and I still am not using social media, I don't know on my friends' end.
Okay. All right. I want to back up a little bit now. We've talked about September 10th, but let me get a little bit of context here. So, did you game with Tyler?
Yeah.
What kind of games?
Played some just kind of party games together, like anything that would be multiplayer with a
Friend slop?
group of friends. There was one game he really liked called Sea of Thieves, where you play as like a pirate, and you can fight against people, but most of it's just like fishing, fighting sharks, skeletons kind of stuff. We played some co-op games where it's like you both have to work together to win in whatever way. Way back when I was just out of high school, when I first knew him online, we played some shooting games together, but I didn't know him very well, so that was just when we had a whole friend group on to play, and he was someone that my friends invited.
Okay. Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He'd usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay. How about...
Damn, even Tyler Robinson games more than you? Yeah, guess what, dude? I'm not in prison right now, at least for the time being, okay? The moment I start gaming, the moment the administration comes after me, this is for self-preservation. Look at this first clip. The outline of Israel is literally on the ground.
I know.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, what the That's it. That's it. You clocked it. We clocked it. And that and the menorah, Israel did it confirmed.
Political issues. So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current policy.
This kind of stuff also doesn't make sense. This reminds me of the Thomas Crook situation, right? Where it's you have a guy who's not that involved in politics doing something so wild. What the happening? It's just like none of that makes sense. None of this makes sense. Okay. I don't understand it. This guy is not even like seemingly all that involved in the realm of politics. Like doesn't necessarily give that much of a Very important thing about both text messages and Discord messages that they have timestamps. The exception is the death penalty case against Tyler Robinson, where text messages and Discord messages no longer have timestamps for some reason. I mean, this is a mock-up and recreation of the text message exchange. It has the timestamps: 4:33, 1:15 p.m. Wednesday, 4:33 p.m. Wednesday, 11 p.m. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What? You're joking, right? I tried to delete that. Incredible OPSEC? Yeah, there is none. There is no OPSEC. Why has the phone been kirked in the same place?
He's being issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
FD described it in the video about Charlie, and instead of wanting to do a crime of mass violence like a they would instead want to make a mass spectacle of violence, like a targeted assassination. Yeah, but even then it's like, does this dude fit the profile of someone who is idle? You know what I mean? Because an assassination is very different than like a cop. And allegedly, Tyler Robinson was clearly trying to get away with it, which is precisely the reason why it doesn't seem like a by cop situation at all. But assassinations are often highly motivated, especially a political assassination is going to be highly politically motivated. So then Tyler Robinson's profile doesn't fit the standard of a person that has any sort of like direct revenge fantasy here, especially if they're not constantly talking about like, I don't know, violence that trans people are experiencing or policies like that. And the role that Charlie Kirk plays in fomenting violence against transgender people. So that's why it's so confusing, because he doesn't fit the normal profile of a person like that. Like the Shinzo Abe assassin was very directional. Okay. Shinzo Abe's assassin knew exactly why he wanted to kill Shinzo Abe, right? There was a very clear goal there. There was very clear harm that the assassin's mother had experienced, the assassin had experienced, right? So, that's why he did it. Whereas in this circumstance, it's just like the amount of work that you put in to pulling off something like this, you probably need to be very motivated by something, very motivated by anger, very motivated politically. And so many of these like last sequence of high profile attempts and high profile assassinations, shootings in general, have been conducted by people with indecipherable politics. Now, I don't know if there's a byproduct of just being American and not really giving a like, it doesn't make sense. Like seeing someone who's like a radical centrist who hates Donald Trump, but also hates like the left flank, attempt to kill the president at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You're like, what were you thinking? So to be fair, it almost makes sense as to why people think that these are all fake assassination attempts, right? It kind of makes sense as to why people look at this story and go, something doesn't add up.
Okay, so before that you have been?
For a short time, yes.
Okay. And I understand you're going by Luna at some point?
To some people, yeah, but not as an overall thing.
It's the product of nihilistic irony poisoning that communities like Moldman spread around. Yes, but also this person doesn't seem to fit that bill as well. Seems like a pretty straight and narrow, cookie cutter, white, like somewhat liberal Mormon guy. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have for this portion. Let me check and see if I've missed anything.
It seems like this person was literally out into the world. Yes, it's true. That is exactly what happened here. Is there even a history of posting about Charlie and strong feelings about him? I don't remember. No. And they're not even saying that the Tyler Robinson talked about Charlie at all.
You said he had
craziest
asked for
piece
that,
of
is that
evidence
right?
that was released today.
And
Second
he
monitor.
told you it
Okay,
was to
dude.
describe bullets.
Yeah.
And so did you have a Dremel then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in our our apartment. We had a section where we kept all our like random tools for household stuff in our lower basement level pantry. So yeah.
Okay. And did you give that to him or tell him where it was?
I just told him where it was. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording for the 1102 purposes.
Thanks, James. All right, let's bring in Fox News contributor and retired NYPD inspector and attorney Paul Morrow. 300 days in from when Charlie Kirk's life was taken from him. And we heard a lot in that courtroom just now. Paul, what were your
Jesus
takeaways?
Christ, almost
So
been a
let's
year.
try to go to a couple of places we haven't talked about. We're all very frustrated with how long this process is going. I think most of the commentators, if not all, agree that we are well over the hump for probable cause. Let's recognize what that means. Probable cause is the same standard under which police make an arrest. That just means we probably got the right guy. Some people put a percentage on it. We don't need to bother with that. This is not beyond a reasonable doubt. This is not the trial. That's later. This is did the cops do the right thing? That's really all this hearing is. Other systems in other states, they use indictment to double tap it. It's just a safeguard. So in light of that construct, you have to say to yourself, Judge Graff, do we not have enough at this point to move forward? As they say in New York, you can indict a ham sandwich. This is the replacement for an indictment process. And the feeling, I think, among a lot of us is why? Why is he letting them have so much latitude, particularly to the defense? Because what it does is gives the defense a preview of the prosecution's case.
And we got a preview of that, and it looks, I mean, incontrovertible, just from the text messages alone. That if you're a defense attorney, how do you defend against that? And in terms of it being bound over for trial, I think that there's, I don't think that anybody's got an argument that there's, maybe the defense does, but I don't think most people would have an argument that there's plenty of evidence here to bind it over for trial. But do you think that this will go to trial? Do you think that this is just Tyler Robinson's defense team, led by Catherine Nestor, saying they got so much on you, including a confession from you, which is backed up by your lover? This ain't going.
For the fact that it doesn't add up makes it more credible. So many loose ties and unanswered questions is not uncommon with natural acts of violence. I don't think it's a cover-up, sure. I have my own doubts, but it doesn't feel like a patsy for us or Israel's assassination. And as Ken this would like to insinuate for views. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I'm never going to get in the way of people who think such things. You know, it's just, it's hard. It's hard to make that counter argument. Okay. It's tough. It's out of my hands. Sorry. I tried really hard. Having said that, there is definitely a bunch of stuff that just like doesn't add up. Like the gun, how did it get there? How did it get disassembled, reassembled? Why did it get reassembled? Why doesn't it show up when he's running in the footage? You know, there's like a lot of stuff that is just like strange. Thank God no one listens to you anyway. Yeah, no one listens to me anyway, except for The Atlantic and Huffington Post when I talk about how Mitch McConnell's back out when we had sex. You know, I have to leave the stream on mute. Why would you do that?
Going anywhere except potentially that if you lose at trial, you could lose your life. Let's cut a deal with the prosecution here. Take the death penalty off the table. You'll spend the rest of your life in jail, but at least you'll be alive. Do you think it could be heading in that direction?
So I'm going to refer back to the Koberger case because the public is familiar with it. That case, I actually came out and said early, I could see a plea deal here because of various, we don't need to relitigate that. And, I got shouted down a little bit. Turned out I actually called that one right. I'm going to go the other way on this.
Is Haley Stevens doing AAVE? Not Abdul leading the uncommitted movement. Please, I need to hear her say this out loud. I need to hear her say, not Abdul leading the uncommitted movement, just like Vladimir Putin. Oh my God. What gives? What gives?
This one, from having been out there, John, seen some of the atmospherics, and this is just my gut, but also how voluminous the evidence is. No, I think this one goes to trial. I don't think remember, the prosecution controls that. And unless there's some procedural problem, somebody really dropped the ball, they don't want to have to deal with it in court, the motion comes in, they have their backs to the wall, all right, let's cut the deal, we'll talk to the defense. Short of that, I just don't get the feeling that the prosecution is going to offer a deal. I think that they feel like they have, as James Galliano said, an open and shut case. And let's remember something, there's stuff we haven't even heard. Yeah. For instance, we know he turned himself in. And we know that the sheriff he turned himself into in Washington County had a warning that he was on the way in. If you're that sheriff, you do two things. You turn on a body-worn camera and you don't take him into custody, you just ask a simple question. What are you doing here? That's all you got to do. One question, it's not custodial, you don't need any Miranda. It's human nature. You're going to say, why are you here? The kid's going to say something, and I suspect it'll be very incriminating. Did that happen? I don't know that. But I'd like to think there is some, I know there's at least audio from what I'm being told. There could be something that's even more of a slam dunk than what we got now. I hope it doesn't come out in the hearing. We shouldn't hear it here. We should hear it at trial. So no, if I'm sitting there right now, if I'm sitting where the prosecution is, I go all the way with this thing.
Wow. Just a little bit of color coming from the courtroom as they are now in a lunch break. But shortly before that ended, we did hear about the reaction from Tyler Robinson as the Twigs video, his former roommate and lover, we are told, played out. He was intently watching. Paul, that's about all I have.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to say to yourself here, what were his, and I don't want to play psychoanalyst, but you can see in the text messages, et cetera, there was a performative element of this. You know, he texts Twigs, talks to him about it. There's a level of grandiosity here, almost like fulfilling a fantasy. And that's how very often crimes do occur. We had a good Utah investigator, a guy named Mike King, on, and he explained to us on the weekly rap sheet, we're doing a show on this every night, 7 o'clock live on this case. And we talked about the fact that these things they germinate in the mind of a perp like this, is a sort of a fantasy, and little by little it becomes normalized. It becomes something you can do, and I think he saw himself as a hero, and I think he saw himself as a hero to Lance Twigs. I get that atmospheric. Again, it's just a cop's read. Now, look, he's innocent until proven guilty. I have to caveat us that way. But that said, with all of these atmospherics, that's my read on it.
Just follow up on that. Is there any sort of risk then that, you know, the defense could make the case that Tyler Robinson, you know, wanted to take ownership of Charlie Kirk's death and shooting, but didn't actually do it, but presented it to his roommate? I'm just thinking of where the defense could go in a trial with this.
Yeah, no, and that dovetails on the question that John raised earlier, which is, you know, couldn't they say it was somebody else texting with him, et cetera? And that's where the fact that you got the Celebrite download from the phone, you got the DNA, you're going to be able to put that. And remember, we got the note as well under Robinson's keyboard. They're going to put that phone in Robinson's hand, as well as the gun's got the DNA, the towel's got the DNA, all of these things. He talks about engraving, remember the shells?
Yep.
All right, and those shells were found with those engraved. All of that stuff is going to put it in Tyler Robinson's hand. I think
Holy f.
that's going to be a blind alley for them if they try to go that way, or they try this idea that there's this second shooter that popped out from someplace. There's no indicia of that. Can they raise a counter narrative? Sure, they can, but you have to have some evidence. Otherwise, the
watermelon
judge
one
should
is
say, we're not entertaining that.
Bomb.com.
So you can't just conjure a counter narrative out of thin air. You have to have something to support it. And let's remember something else, and I'm going to use the term that was said to me when I was out there. They have Twigs, quote unquote, right where we want them. All right, I was asking physically, where is he? All right, he's not in witness protection. It's not that kind of thing. You do with something like this, you got a key witness, you keep him out of the public's eye, you keep him away from the media. Generally, you know, you use a motel or something. I don't want to go into it. But the bottom line is, this guy is the most crucial witness that they have. And yet,
clearly,
he's the romantic partner, so they need a lever. So what's the lever that they have? I can guarantee you, they said to him, you're implicated. Did you destroy evidence? Did you do this? Did you do that? And, you know, they probably scared him, rightly so. He starts talking. It's recorded. You make sure you do that. That's how this went.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question about that in a second, but for those of you who aren't intently watching the screen, a little more color from inside the courtroom. And Paul, you mentioned the engraving of the bullets. Apparently, while he was watching intently as the Lance Twigs interview was being played out in the courtroom, Tyler Robinson became visibly uncomfortable and started squirming in his seat when he was talking about engraving the bullets. Now, just to refresh folks at home's memory, and maybe for folks who didn't see that part of the interview being played out, Lance Twigs talked about Tyler Robinson saying that he wanted to engrave bullet casings.
Yeah.
Didn't say why or what he was going to engrave on it. Lance Twigs said, well, we've got a Dremel if you want to borrow that. Anybody who is not familiar, a Dremel is sometimes it's used for crafts, sometimes
I don't have the link, but the messages, those pictures don't match the transcript the FBI released a year ago.
it's used for you know, it's as a tool basically if you're trying to do something with metal, cut it or polish it or engrave it. It's a little handheld device where it's got a little rotating bit on the end of it. You could engrave things with it, you could polish, you can sand with it. The fact that he talked at length about and in great detail about Tyler Robinson wanting to borrow that Dremel. Lance Twiggs said, I won't get it for you, but I'll tell you where it is. And apparently Tyler Robinson went to wherever it was and picked that up. He was quite uncomfortable, according to observers in the court, when that testimony was being read out.
Yeah, unsurprising.
It just
right?
straight up doesn't make any sense. Also, are these guys all not so subtly implying that the lover is involved in this? Am I getting that across? Like Fox News couldn't get their nut off on Tyler Robinson, that they're very not so subtly just being like, yeah, they got him right where they want him. It's like, okay, very strange of you to just assume that this is some grand conspiracy. Like, it's not enough. You got the shooter, allegedly, but you're like, oh, well, this is a suspected transgender partner. We should just lock them up too, just, you know, for fun.
Probably had the atmospheric of somebody getting caught bragging, because here he is, you know, sort of talking to Twiggs about that. This is obviously very damning evidence. But again, I go back to the idea that I think he's beginning to feel, first of all, obviously the case is closing in on him here. But I think, again, he wanted to think of himself as a hero. I think to the people that are potentially politically aligned with him, but also to Twiggs. And here he is having a conversation.
It is also pretty wild because it's like, oh, dude, if you've ever done any crime, but you've also been around a trans person, let's just grab the trans person too, is an insane way to operate. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, all right, let's just lock them up too, you know? Lock them up.
Early private conversation, let's say, with his paramour. And here it is now being read out in open court. So, and let's remember something else. It's a callback to the Mangione case, where we saw a similar technique. So all of these things are very damning. And let's remember also, he puts the gun in his own hands. He starts telling Twiggs about, you know, what am I gonna do about Grandpa's gun? Dad's gonna be all over me to get Grandpa's gun. It's wrapped up in a towel in the woods. I gotta get back there to get it. Well, the police found it. And of course it has
This part also is
his
just like,
DNA and
this is the thing that I don't get, right? Haley Williams mentioned Paramore. Okay, shut up. The thing that I don't understand is like, this guy, they do everything, right? Tyler Robinson allegedly does everything by the book, like, you know, plans this whole thing out, right? One shot, one kill. What the going on with like leaving the gun in the woods? Like, I don't even understand. Like, how is it so not sloppy on the one hand, but so unbelievably sloppy on the other hand?
again, you know, I just got to go back to the weight of the evidence. And if I'm sitting where the prosecution is, I do not let myself get distracted. I go all the way on this. If you don't take this case all the way on aggravated murder, I don't know what Utah has the statute for.
Wow. There's
Adderall wore off, been there.
a lot to dig into there. You know, as this continues, I mean, you have to imagine these families are all in the courtroom. They're all taking this in together. They're all probably watching Tyler Robinson, his reactions to John's point. We just got some color in the courtroom that he was squirming when his former roommate was, you know, talking about the engravings on the bullets.
Paramore.
I don't know,
You mean
Paul,
Paramore?
It just seems like for the American public watching this, I mean, there's just an overwhelming amount of evidence here.
Former
And this is
roommate.
one of
You
those
mean
things where
Paramore?
the public gets to see how the sausage is made in our justice system, and sometimes it's not that pretty. I can assure people, without such a public forum and without people sort of play.
All right,
Let's
whatever.
get straight to Donna
Kirk, family attorney issues desperate plea to judge.
and Joshua Ritter outside of the courthouse there. Josh, I'll start with you first. Set this up for us, what we are about to hear.
We're about to hear probably the most anticipated and crucial piece of evidence in this case. Up until now, we've heard about DNA and we've heard about ballistics. We've seen a lot of surveillance, but this is going to be a videotape, and audio is probably the only thing we will see. It looks like the judge has ruled that the video will not be shown to the public or the media, but we're going to be hearing at least the audio interview of Lance Twiggs, who is Tyler Robinson's roommate and romantic partner at the time, where he made what we believe are many confessions. We already know that he confessed essentially over text message, but now apparently this might include some actual conversations that they had in person or over the phone. It could be very enlightening. And again, I think this is why you're seeing the defense fighting against this so hard. They've been fighting against this literally for weeks. It's just now all culminated in a frame-by-frame discussion of what's going to actually be played in court and what won't.
Don, I mean, what's the problem with showing Lance Twiggs, video of Lance Twiggs? I mean, we know what he looks like. We're hearing the audio. What's the difference of marrying a picture with the audio?
I agree with you, John. There is no difference. It is a difference without distinction. We're talking about evidence coming in a trial or a hearing, as this is. And as that evidence comes in, we're going to hear the words spoken. And so the difference between hearing it and seeing it while we hear it, I think, is very minimal, frankly. I do think that the only argument potentially for the cameras being off wasn't really made. And what that is Lance Twiggs himself is not here to testify. So therefore, the fact that he is on video, his statement would have come in this way because hearsay is admissible. So the hearsay could have come in through a police officer, through a detective, through another witness in the case. So maybe the judge thought if it came in that way, they wouldn't actually see him. So we're going to let the world hear his words, but we're not actually going to see him until he actually takes the witness stand.
Before they resume in the courtroom there, which we're about a minute away, I want to play this out from the Kirk family lawyer, Jeffrey Neiman, urging the court to let the evidence be seen for the sake of the family. Listen.
The Kirk family's waited 10 months for this hearing, and they have a right to be here, and they have a right to hear the evidence. They have a right to see and feel what's going on in this courtroom, just like, and they want to understand, Judge, what you are viewing. They want to see the evidence. And we understand you have to balance, but at a minimum, this courtroom needs to be open for the evidence to be displayed openly in this courtroom, for them to see it. The Utah Constitution gives them the right to be here, and to be here and not to see the evidence, what's the point of being here?
A clear display of frustration, Josh, on the part of the Kirk family.
Absolutely. And I agree with everything he says, by the way. The United States distinguishes itself from the entire world as standing as a country that opens up the doors of their courtrooms and allows cameras in, allows the public to come in. Why should that stop here and now? The reason.
Why is this a big story? I don't understand. It's so strange. All right, let's see what Clandis is saying. Let's see what okay, we're gonna peek into the clandestine operations for a brief moment. Okay, we are going to briefly peek at the other side, at America B. What are they talking about? How are they feeling? Ben Shapiro's Timeline of Dishonesty is the name of this video. Okay, we're gonna put our clandestine operator hats on for just one brief moment. We're touching our tippy toes in the water. You're not diving in, okay?
Bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
If you don't mind, can you just say something about what the day itself was like for you?
Yeah. Andrew Colvin admits in New York Times interview that Charlie was unhappy about Ben Shapiro being booked on as a guest.
Well, it can be brief.
Yeah, I know. It's so the day before, actually, I had booked an interview for him that he was not super pleased that I booked for him, but there was a good reason for doing it. But he was like, you know what, I'm tired now, and I want to focus on the tour tomorrow. So you're gonna guest host the show tomorrow.
Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it.
Oh, God, that's so... Oh, God. They're bringing Ben's old tweets? Yeah, I saw this one. I would gladly waive the Born in USA requirement for presidency for BB. Yeah, I saw that.
You know, we couldn't be, frankly, more honored to join you guys as much as we can in the fight.
Thank you for that, and thank you for donating.
Daily Wire donates $1 million to Turning Point USA and pledges more involvement in their operations. Date 9/15/2025.
The Daily Wire, $1 million. Breaking news on this show. Thank you guys for honoring Charlie so well today. God bless you.
For example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now...
Ben Shapiro demands Megyn Kelly denounce Candace Owens on Megyn's own show, 11/6/2025.
It's evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what
Because
like I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were...
Dude, it's so awesome. These guys are all such vultures. It's so dope. I'm sorry. Watching this unfold in real time was cathartic, but it just, like, they are all such rapacious little grifters. They are nasty. They're all so nasty, scavenging on the corpse of Charlie Kirk. Okay. Just going crazy mode.
On the left, and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes. When Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Follow a hive mind, yes, queen. Underground, communists. Mormons live in Utah. I watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I know what's going on here.
After all, your personal business is our business, is our motto. Egyptian Air, wherever you travel, we will follow.
I need to take a breath here because what I'm about to discuss is significantly more serious and truly troubling. Candace Owens, as you may have...
Bro, it's got to feel so good, though, that you, like, get fired from your previous place of employment and you destroy them. And they spend every waking moment coming after you. And every time they do that, they keep losing the argument further and further. And you can basically say whatever you want. As long as you tie it back to Israel, you can just get away with it. And that pivotal issue is the reason why you got fired, which you happen to be on the right side of, even for the wrong reasons, right? Because, like, come on, Candace Owens, definitely anti-Semitic. It's just so crazy to me that she is fabbing on him on a daily goddamn basis. And every day that they choose to on Candace Owens, her power grows and their power diminishes. That's got to feel so nutty.
Heard me refer at the top of the show, is an evil, twisted human being.
At the bottom of that lawsuit from Brian Harpole, it lists a Jacob William Roth, a partner of the firm, who also happens to be Ben Shapiro's brother-in-law.
I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody, and I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. Second, there's visual timelines that show Charlie's body being carried to a vehicle within minutes of being shot. Apparently, he was still alive at the time. Again, I know that only because my security was talking to his security in the car.
And Andrew Cole. So what is that? That's crazy. So hold on now. Breaking news. Ben Shapiro just confessed on a show that while Charlie was being transported to the hospital and bleeding out to death, his security was on the phone with Charlie's security receiving updates. I knew it. Someone explained to me why during the minute while Charlie was dying in the backseat of a car, Charlie's security team was providing updates to Ben Shapiro's team rather than focusing entirely on saving Charlie's life and finding the killer. I will remind you all that Brian Harpole, one of the security members who was in that car en route to the hospital, is currently suing me and is using Ben Shapiro's lawyer, who has sued me relentlessly on Ben's behalf for the last 3 years. Ben Shapiro hated Charlie. Everyone knew that. So why the hell was this demon receiving updates in the mere minutes after Charlie was hit en route to the hospital? Who on Charlie's security team betrayed him this way? Everything Ben did following the assassination made my alarm bells go off. I have told you guys there's some about Daily Wire and their relentlessly stalking of me following my firing that has made me feel altogether unsafe. I have felt their obsessive focus on destroying me is deranged and increasingly dangerous. What did Andrew Colvett mean when he told me it was supposed to be you? Why did Turning Point betray Charlie so quickly by allowing Ben to open at Amfest after declaring immediately that he would pick up Charlie's bloody mic? Why didn't Ben mention this before today, that he was receiving status updates while Charlie was bleeding out? I clocked that Ben was too invested in this. His energy on stage demanding that Megyn Kelly call me evil and his overprotective stance on Erica always registered to me as deeply nervous. Ben Shapiro is satanic. Everything in my soul tells me he worships Satan literally. Look at his demeanor in this clip. We need to find out exactly who on Charlie's team betrayed him by providing immediate updates on this to this parasite. Share far and wide. 61,000 likes.
My security was...
Oh my gosh, she's insane. Okay, but guess what? Because every person involved in this story is an unbelievable villain, she gets to say that, and then other people actually look at the things that she's saying, look at Ben Shapiro's reaction and go, wait a minute, she's not wrong. This exact same thing happened with Erica Kirk, because Erica Kirk is also a businesswoman and you know, another bloodless monster for the most part. Okay, when Candace, the only reason why a basket case like Candace Owens gets to make these kinds of theories go unbelievably viral is because the people that she is attacking are also freaks. Like the tweet you won't, I can't. She blocked me many, many years ago. Do you see what I mean? Like if we're, so here's the thing. Yes, I'm a clandestine operator. I'm a clandestine operator and I'm a fallen soldier, right? Like I can't like the tweet because the clandenistas, I know we're all one. We're united. Where we go one, we go all. Unfortunately, Candace Owens blocked me many, many years ago, and she's never unblocked me. And we just simply can't communicate for that reason. Okay. But anyway, do you guys see what I'm saying though? Because like Erica Kirk is like very obviously reacted to the assassination of her husband in a way that like a normal person would not react, because there's Erica Kirk, the wife and mother, and then there's also Erica Kirk, the businesswoman. And she locked in and went business mode so fast that every normal human being that was looking at this went, what? Care about this if you don't, right? That's number one. And that's precisely the reason why a lot of people started looking at Candace Owens' reaction. And they were like, well, you are reacting in a way that is perhaps a little bit more normal to a close friend's passing, the gruesome assassination of a close friend, a confidant, maybe even a lover, who knows, right? Whereas Ben Shapiro's reaction was also just as cold and as calculated. Now, I don't know if that's because he's like super autistic. I don't know if he just doesn't give a shit about Charlie and wanted to use this to his advantage. But I do feel like I showed more humanity than even Ben did. I guess, yeah, Dean cried more than Ben Shapiro did. Like, what are we talking about? Dean reacted to the Charlie Kirk assassination with more emotion than Erica Kirk did. It's like up there with Candace Owens number 1, Dean number 2, me number 3, Erica Kirk is like number 15. Ben Shapiro, bottom of the barrel. He cried, she cried, we crowed. So my point is, that's the reason why Candace gets to cook all of this up. If these guys were normal human beings, Candace would not be able to cook up these theories against them, because everyone would be like, what are you talking about? Ben didn't immediately try to take over Turning Point USA moments after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He did. He did do that. He immediately did that. He was like, oh, it's my time to shine now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to do. So obviously it is like my opinion on all this stuff is like, my honest opinion on all this stuff is I don't think it's like Israel that killed Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk's going to turn on Israel. I don't believe any of that stuff. Obviously, I've said it over and over again, but I'm not going to stop people from thinking it. I can't stop you, right? I've tried my best. People don't listen to me. But what I will say is this. The reason why Candace has been able to dominate this discourse so successfully and become the carrier of the flame, unironically, is because she showed humanity, okay? The point I'm making right now is, if any of these people were like normal human beings and they reacted as though normal human beings do and didn't immediately go into performance mode, okay? If they showed humanity in this moment, if they didn't immediately see dollar signs in the way that Erica did, in the way that Ben did, then I think Candace Owens would not have been able to make a convincing argument. But because these guys are horrible people in general, and they saw this as an opportunity to lay ownership, like lay an ownership stake in Turning Point USA, to be the person that Charlie Kirk was, you know, to take that role on immediately. Most people's reaction in the Charlie Kirk fandom, most people's reaction in the Charlie Kirkiverse was, yeah, I don't believe any of you guys. I believe Candace Owens. It's that simple.